Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60, and this episode is another video on getting the MFactory LSD installed. Before I get into the main video, I just wanted to apologise for not making a video yesterday. It was a friend of ours, engagement party, a really good mate of mine, and I did the only sensible thing a friend should do by getting really drunk yesterday afternoon. So I do apologise for no video, but that's what was going on. The other thing, I also want to well, we have just turned on memberships for the account, and I just want to thank our first member, JEEC. Dude, really appreciate the support. If anybody wants to check out the memberships, it is a new thing. We're going to just sort of see how the system goes. We're open to any ideas and things that you guys want to get out of the memberships. But the reality is that money helps us do more things with our car and spend more time making videos. Now, on with the diff video. Now, also need to thank everyone that commented in regards to how to shim the diff. I was just a bit short of time on Friday, and I should have done some research before I started pulling the diff apart. I generally just cracked on with the job thinking how hard can it be, and at the time I'd forgotten how these diffs go together. It is these circlips or lock rings or snap rings, whatever you want to call them. Most of the ones that you'll see, or even when they come from the factory, they use different thickness ones of these to shim the diff and make sure the gear is engaging as it should with the correct amount of backlash. Yeah, I think we did actually mention in the video, but we could tell that they felt different, the ones that were in my diff versus what was in the MFactory LSD that I bought. Yeah, so long story short, you can actually get different size ones of these, and I have measured all these and checked what they are. However, this morning, in my hungover state, I basically just started having a play and assembling the diff. Now, what I have ended up doing, I've used the circlips or snap rings out of the MFactory diff. This is my diff housing, so it's got my gears in it, but I've used the snap rings that were in the one that I bought secondhand. Now, I sort of just worked on the fact that the housing should be pretty similar, and there's a good chance that it needed the same shims in this housing that it needed in the other one, or at least close to. So that's what I've done. Now, I have also... oh, the other thing I should mention. My diff had the roller bearings. That is completely normal for the E90s. The tapered bearings, which are in the MFactory diff, they are what were used on the older BMWs. Now, apparently, from what I read the other night, the tapered bearings last longer than the roller bearings, but they're not as good for fuel economy. Again, I've just left this assembly how it was in the other diff housing on the assumption that the shimming is going to be pretty close to where we need it to be. Now, in regards to that, the backlash measurement that is sort of perfect, and I know the shops in Australia that do these diff rebuilds, they aim for 0.002 thousandths of an inch, or 2 thousandths of an inch, and that's pretty much perfect backlash. I found a brilliant thread on N54 Tech, which actually 2 guys linked to as well in the comments, that was written by MFactory, and I will put a link in that below in regards to installing an MFactory diff in your car, and they actually allow 0.002 to 0.009 inches of backlash, and that's what they regard as acceptable. So I've got the dial gauge set up now. I have checked it, and I'm pretty happy with what we got, but I'm going to try and show you on camera what we've got. The dial gauge is just set up right on the tip of that gear there. Hopefully the lighting is working. It is magnetically mounted to the base, and it is all pretty solid. So let me see if I can do all this and show you guys without making too much of a mess with the GoPro. Hopefully that's focusing. But the diff, also, just so you can see, I've got a weight on this. These clamps are not clamped onto the spline very hard at all, but it's just to stop the spline spinning. The diff is all pretty solid, so nothing should move. And let's check the backlash. So the crown wheel is down at the moment, and you can see we're on, unfortunately being in Australia, I've only got the metric gauge, so that is fractions of a millimetre, and right now we are at 0.005 millimetres. So let's go to the other end, and you can hear it tick. So that's basically the play we have in those gears. So on that dial gauge, we're going from 0.5, well, it's 5 to 15, which is 0.1 of a millimetre. And 0.1 of a mil, I'm going to need Google for this. David sending me messages. 0.1 of a mil, sorry guys, 0.1 of a mil to inches is 0.0039. So we're sort of smack bang in the middle, almost to the closer side of perfect tolerances from what MFactory recommend. So that Backlash, although it's not perfect, I think I'm just going to roll with it. Now, alternatively, if I had more shims and more circlips here, I could experiment swapping them out and seeing if we get it down closer to 0.0002. But the other part of me kind of wants to see if 0.0039 is good enough and causes any problems. So we're going to roll with that much Backlash. I know there are a lot of people that say you can't tell if your dial gauges are calibrated correctly and you're supposed to check before and after. Look, this isn't a Formula One car. I think we just put it together and send it. So that's what we're going to do. So from this point on, I've got to get the back housing on, the oil seals in, and back in the car. It all sounds pretty easy. Let's get on with it. All right, so because I wasn't prepped, I actually had to buy a genuine pair of output shaft seals. The genuine ones come with the seal, which I have here. It's quite a complex oil seal, got the metal housing like so, and they also come with a snap ring to go in the end of the axles. The axles are held in with these little snap rings, which, let's see if I can do it on camera. Yeah, it's not too bad. And it's those two bits sticking out which actually keep the axles in the diff. And actually, if I show you a used one, so you can see there, when they're brand new, they stick out past the shafts a lot more than once they've been used. So that will help keep the axles in the diff. Now, to get the seal fitted, I'm just going to rub some oil on the outside of the shaft just to help it slide in, sorry, outside of the seal, just to help it slide in place. And it should be a matter of plonking it in there. Try and get it as level as we can. And I'm going to use one of the old bearings that are not getting used anymore. And we'll give it a tap with a hammer. Put somewhere. We'll just try and get it evenly. If you don't want to go, let's check all this. Okay, just double checking. Look clean. I might put some oil in there as well, maybe. Obviously they are a forced fit, so they're going to be tight. But I wasn't expecting to need that much. Yes, they go tight pretty quickly. Da, da, da. Put that there. Okay, so everything is lubed again, and I think I've just got to be a bit more persuasive, but I do want to try and make sure it goes down smooth. If anyone's having a freak out, I'm never going to use these bearings again. Yeah, she's going. We're going. Might switch over to time lapse. And now it's just time to put the output shafts in. These are the ones from my original diff. I'm just going to coat them with oil just to help them slide past the seals. God. Help them slide past the seals and seal. And because they've got the new snap rings, they are quite hard to get in. So that's as far as I can get them. We'll tap it down. Ooh. Still not down at the point where it's in the gears yet. Whee. That's now the splines have meshed. Whee. Working on a portable bench is awesome. That is seated. So now we spin. Awesome. All right, guys, well, she's all assembled, got the axles back in. All that's really left to do is put the outer cover on and fill it up with oil. But yeah, we have the clutch diff in there and working like an LSD. All right, let's get this back cover on. All right, so to seal the diff case or cover or whatever you want to call it, housing, I'm just going to use Permatex gasket maker. This is the grey high temp advanced stuff, which when we had a workshop, I watched mechanics pretty much just use to seal everything. Used to seem like they could probably use it to seal a head if they really needed to. Just going to put a small, yeah, that should probably be enough, small bead all the way around. All right, now it says to fit it on while it is still damp. We'll do a top and a bottom bolt first. I'll just start that one. That is the bottom one. Alright, so Permatex actually say to finger tighten the bolts, let it cure for 1 hour, and then torque up to the correct torque spec. So I guess it gives it a chance to start a seal. And yeah, I can pretty much see silicone all the way around, so I think we've got a fairly good bond there. Well, they are all finger tight, and you can see it has pushed the silicone out around most of it. So I'd say that's, I might have used a bit too much silicone, but hey, hopefully it'll be fine. Yeah, look, that is the MFactory clutched 1.5 way diff in my housing with my gearing, ready to go back into the car once the silicone dries. Guys, look, thank you for following along. Really appreciate any of you that are going to be checking out the membership options. That's huge for us. We really do appreciate it. But yeah, I'm going to end this video off here because I need to wait for this to cure anyway. I'm going to get it back into the car, and tomorrow's video will be testing it. Now, like I said at the start of this video, it's a bit unknown using one of these diffs in the 335. It's not a common thing, so I'm curious to see what happens, what the clutch diff does, if it makes any funny noises, any negative effects. Also curious to see if my backlash setting is going to work, or if that's going to cause any problems. So tomorrow should be quite an interesting video doing this test drive. Anyway, look guys, thank you very much again, really appreciate it all. Yeah, me and Dave love the 0 to 60 community that's building at the moment. It's bloody amazing. And yeah, we'd love to get David having the ability to make some more videos as well and not do so much real work. Anyway guys, thank you very much. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace. A bit of an extra clip just in case someone's interested, but I've just been playing with it. Obviously there's still no oil in it, but you can, if I move it really slowly, so I'm going to turn this axle that way, and you can see the other axle starts to spin backward. Oh, it doesn't now. No. I was just spinning it a few times and the clutches were like, you can see the clutches lock up. We'll try it this way. Yeah, you can just see that one starts to go backwards, then the clutches bind up as the crown wheel starts to spin, and the diff does what it's supposed to do. And obviously as the torque is coming in this way, that will lock a lot sooner. Woo! Looking forward to driving the car with this. Hopefully it works.